Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria, Munson here with Good Morning Portugal show, ding, live stream and podcast. How are you this morning? Well, I hope. Tudo bem? Como estás? Do let me know in the chat, if you will. Our morning check-in from 8:30 or thereabouts. And at 9 o'clock, we've got Raquel with us from Lighthouse Consulting. She's the woman who's helping us, Good Morning Portugal and Feel Good Astrology, start a company here in Portugal. So if you want to do something similar, if you want to start a company or just learn about anything to do with invoicing, starting a company, running a company, best way to go about doing a bit of business here in Portugal, she is your woman. And Astrid from Expats Portugal also joining us, popping in briefly between now and 9 o'clock. We'll have a chat with Raquel and probably take another little look at the news and the weather especially. We took a look at the news. We had a little bit of a news review yesterday. Let's see what's going on with the weather, because I know the Portuguese are a little bit concerned about it. All jokes aside, he said in some correspondence to me, 300 days. That's the 300 days of sunshine, you know. And we have 1 day of rain. Thing is, it's been repeated many times this year, that 1 day of rain. Do you think something weird is going on with the weather? What might it be? Is there anything we can do about it apart from surrender and adjust to it? So what's really going on? And we can continue our what's going on in the skies debate as well, that we started with him from last Thursday, or not. Somebody sent me a beautiful image this morning of the aluminum or aluminium foil aisle in the supermarket. Free hat with every box. How about that? Good morning to you, T-Duck, to you, James, and to you, Coach Turner. Coach Turner's still in the country no, not in the country, still on the continent, I should say. Here we go. Bon dia, Gumpers. E Feliz Carta. And good morning to you, Deagle, as well. Heading back to Blighty today. I thought you were going back yesterday. I'm not trying to get rid of you from Europe. No, you're still in Europe. It's not in the EU anymore. Sorry. Heading back to Blighty today, but at least it's a late crossing, so have time for a good lunch. Yes, that's the thing to do when you're heading back to Blighty from France. Whoa, back up the truck and have a nice lunch or dinner somewhere before you get on that ferry. We're in the pretty village of La Bouille on the Seine. There we go. On Seine, in Seine. We have a little video from the coach, which I'll play for you now. Thank you very much, Coach Turner. I think, that was when it was all kicking off at the Obidos Lagoon, at the Obidos Castle from the weekend. It's that video that I nearly played there as your representation of being on the Seine. That would have been a little bit confusing. Here it is, a few seconds from life in France this morning. Very tranquille on the Le Seine, sur le Seine. There, if I think of the Seine, I'm thinking I'm going to see the Eiffel Tower and be in Paris. But of course, it's rural as well, as beautifully captured by Coach Turner right there. Deagle was in, and we'll come back to you, Coach Turner, and your wonderful God Squad tip of the day today. So impressed and so grateful to you for keeping them coming while you've been mainly on holiday, right? You've kept up your wonderful service to this community. So thank you very much for that. Yesterday, we were stretching our arms out and twisting them from side to side and making a little grunt as we got round to each side and not lifting our buttocks off the seat. I wonder what you've got in store for us this morning. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers, from a dry, it's a sailor's trousers weather. From a dry blue sky, decent 10 degrees this morning. Belfast looking a bit patchy. Rain showers until Saturday. Should easily hit 16 degrees today, but Monday, Tuesday, big heat of 22 massive degrees. Buy your barbecue meat now, says Deagle. Thank you for the heads up on that. For any other listeners in Belfast this morning, and thank you for being here from 7:11 this morning, funnily enough, at a similar time to Coach Turner, who checked in and saying, in true French fashion, the restaurants were all closed yesterday. Still, it's not as if we haven't been eating well. Why were they closed yesterday? I wonder. Was there a particular reason for that? Or did they just feel like it? A Gallic shrug. Actually, they might all be over here. When I was at the Mandrette, the Man Cave Laundrette, last night, having a beer while Miss Smalls were being singed to within an inch of their life in the tumble dryer. A lot of French people in the bar yesterday evening with some really fantastic French being spoken. As you might imagine, a lot of Portuguese people actually do speak French. And I think Pedro, the owner, was talking to a lot of the folks, and a lot of the customers were talking to each other in French, both Portuguese and French alike. And there was some real going on in the truly living up to the shrugging stereotype. They are stereotypes for a reason, you know. Woken around 5:30 this time of year, not the dawn chorus, but the bin men. They start early, finish early on bin day. When they waken you early, I always say, I hope it rains at lunchtime, afternoon to ruin their day. Bah humbug to the bin men of Belfast from Deagle at 5:30 this morning, and a Bondier coach from Deagle as well. Right, God squad tip of the day then. Are you sitting comfortably on both buttocks, I hope? Then we'll begin. Oh, that's so reassuring. Put your feet straight out ahead. Let's try this. Push your legs apart. Woo! And then slowly back together again. We're scissoring here, aren't we? 3 sets of 10. I can't do it. There's a table leg in the way here, but I get the gist. 3 sets of 10 will work your abdominals. Yes, work those abdominals this morning. Give it a go. So put your feet out straight ahead, and you're sat. This is sat in a chair, obviously. Is it obviously? Yeah, it's probably best done sat in a chair. Put your feet out straight ahead. Push your legs apart, then slowly back together again. Are we keeping both buttocks on the chair this morning? Coach Turner, thank you very much for that. Work those abdominals, everybody. And a bon dia gumpers from James this morning. Slow down. You move too fast. Thank you, Paul Simon. Feliz Cata a todos. Com é o vosso dia. How's it going? How's your day going, I should say. And yes, if you're noticing something different about me, my day is slightly different today. I use the iron. Wow, we've got an iron now, and I thought I'd use it. Goes quite well with a linen shirt, doesn't it? A bit of ironing. Although by the end of the day, a linen shirt is as creased as when it was hanging up in the wardrobe, waiting to be ironed. But yeah, feels nice. And I was remembering the person who taught me how to iron a shirt was my father. And one of those things that was passed on from father to son was how to iron a shirt properly. Why? Because he was a police officer. And I imagine in the early days of him ironing shirts, there would have been starch involved, separate collars and cuffs and all those sorts of things, and some very stiff cotton. And to this day, I remember how he showed me to iron a shirt for going to school in, because I had a freshly ironed white shirt every day for school as well. Do you have a similar memory of a jewel of that kind being passed from one generation to the next? Do let me know in the chat, as well as any questions, comments, suggestions, saying anything about Portugal, as well as asking anything about Portugal. You may have been here a little while, but every day is a school day in Portugal, isn't it? Is there something that's bugging you, something that occurred to you while you're out and about, and you thought, I must ask the Gumpers about that? Pop it in the chat this morning, and we'll do our best to answer that for you. Mindful moment then from James. Meditation. Hold on a minute. There's a Sat Guru. I think it's pronounced Sat rather than Sad Guru. Who wants a Sad Guru? I think that's Sat, as in Satchitananda, truth, consciousness, and bliss. Meditation. Meditation means dissolving the invisible walls that unawareness has built. Oh my goodness, we've had the builders in and they've built some walls of unawareness. Let's smash them down with a bit of meditation. Thank you very much, James, for that. And your mindful dad joke this morning, ably filling the tea duct vacuum. I didn't get your text because I'm lying. Well, that's honest, isn't it? Some radical honesty right there. Okay, and your visuals for this morning, let's have a look. We have, as well as Serious debate. Saw this on Twitter. Now, is that a Brontosaurus, Emily Brontesaurus there? If you were that dinosaur, would you be wearing your tie up just in the in a human kind of way at the top of your neck? Oh, excuse me a minute. A bit of philosophy still stuck in my throat from yesterday, I think. Would you be wearing your necktie? Does anyone see? I ironed a shirt this morning, which seems quite old fashioned. And I can't remember the last time I ironed a shirt, quite frankly, but it was nice to iron one this morning. Ties. Does anyone still have a tie in this community? I have got a tie. I won't be wearing it, I don't think, for the breakfast show. But has anyone got a tie? Sadly, a lot of people have got a black tie for certain occasions, haven't they? That we dare not mention. It's not the departure lounge this morning. That was yesterday. The black tie may be. But does anyone still have a necktie, as I think you call them in the United States? Okay, that was there in the picture deck. Honey, please wake up our son. I do not like this one. I do like this one. Mum says to dad, honey, please wake up our son. If I move that comment out of the way, you will see the punchline. There is no self. It's all one thing. Your beliefs are delusions. Oh, poor lad. Ah, the mandret. Mrs. M is here. I nearly put up one of your pictures this morning as I was transferring my images to the picture deck. I think I'll do it now. Are you challenging astrological sun sign stereotypes? Because I very nearly put this up on the screen. It's those one-liners, isn't it? Descriptions about the star signs. And sorry to any Arians, and that's not what they're called, is it? Arisians, Aries people, extremely selfish and use other blah blah, and then I think Mrs. M might have slapped a WTF over that. I mean, come on, you can't sum up the elaborate nature of people with a pithy little one-liner. That's astrological clickbait. I'm not accusing Mrs. M of that, far from it. She's quite the amazing astrologer, as thousands of people will attest to on her Feel Good Astrology channel. She's a deep diver when it comes to astrology, none of this superficial. But I very rarely. Very nearly, not very rarely, very nearly put that. Well, I have put it on the screen now. Maybe she'll come in and tell me when she brings me a coffee. See what I did there? Right, okay. So we had the wake up our son moment. There is no self. It's all one thing. Your beliefs are delusions. And why is the new Star Trek better than the old? Says the captain. Because on the new Star Trek, we set our phasers to pun. Well, hey, thank you very much for that. It is 8:45. I would bring Astrid on, but she's wrestling with a cat at the moment. Oh, no, the cat's gone now. Cats in our house were especially annoying this morning, trying to trip me up as I was walking down the stairs. And then, here's your food. Oh, good morning. Here's your food. Quick look, quick sniff, turn their nose up and go and sit on the doorstep for a little while and not eat their allegedly latest favorite food. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Astrid from Expats Portugal. Good morning to you. How's your cat this morning?
Good morning, Carl.
Good morning. Your cat jumped up on the table for a quick fuss at showtime.
Whenever I come onto the computer, he wants to be in front of the computer screen. So, yeah.
Yes. It's built into, I think, live streaming and Zoom technology. Just a little alert that brings all the cats to the desk.
It must be.
How are you this morning, Tudubai? How is Kashkosh this morning?
Oh, it's a bit overcast today. We're expecting some rain, so not all that great. It's a bit chilly too. It's only 18 degrees.
What is going on? You've been in Portugal for a few years. Do you think the weather's really weird this year?
I've always thought that the in-between seasons, the autumn and the spring, usually really short. It goes from being cold from winter to hot to summer really quickly, and spring and autumn are usually really short.
Yeah.
But this spring seems to be going forever.
It does, doesn't it? And then it's resetting itself to autumn suddenly as well. Then it's peeing down again. That's right. Like torrential rain and then an April shower. You think, well, that's fair enough. April and May, you do get the occasional shower. But some of this torrential rain as well, I'm not sure what's going on. And although I've been here a few years, I hear Portuguese people saying it's really changed, or no, it's always been like this. So I'm really unsure. And not quite sure what to do about it, except to pack every kind of clothing, an umbrella and several layers until it's well and truly summer. And I think at that point, we will forget all of this conversation, won't we, about the weather? And we will have that phenomenon that I think you're describing, where we're into full-on summer, and that will be it, hopefully, for 4 months, 5 months, maybe?
Yes. So looking forward to it. We'll be complaining it's too hot.
Yes, I can't wait. I think I already have. I think I already have this year complained already once that it was too hot. Right, what's going on? This is interesting information for new arrivals, I think, who we may be talking to tomorrow night. I love these conversations. Who have we got? Can we say who we've got, or is that a surprise for tomorrow evening?
It's a surprise, or we've got two different sets of people who are going to be sharing their experience about just landing in Portugal. So people who have gone through the whole process of moving here and what they did, any tips, any tricks, any feedback, any good or bad things that happened throughout that experience. So they've been on the journey, they've just landed here, and they're happy to share their stories with other people who are in the same process.
Marvelous. Okay. And I mean, can you remember being just landed?
Do I remember?
Yeah, I bet. I'm having to I'm having to think now. But one thing's for sure, the services that people have now were not around, were they? I think it's safe to say when you and I first landed in this country. So
I've been here for 12 years now, Carl. So things were very different for me. Yes. And also I came here a lot because, I married a Portuguese man. So my experience was a bit different. When we were living in Australia, we used to visit Portugal pretty much every year. So I was here. It felt like a second home anyway, even though we were just coming to visit family. Yes. And then when we finally moved here, I remember the biggest fear of mine was the driving on the other side of the road, sort of getting that confidence to get in the car. Because in Australia, we drive on the opposite side. So that was one of my biggest fears. But I love the whole everything new and going and exploring the supermarkets and enrolling in the Portuguese language course and doing a few.
That's one of the great things, isn't it? And it is. I won't give their identity away, but as I understand it, there was a question and a point of interest for one of the people we'll be speaking to. What to grab at the local supermarket for the first time. What would your recommendation be on that if somebody's going to a Portuguese supermarket for the first time? And there's a very weird thing happening at my local supermarket, which is the gossip of the town at the moment in San Martinho de Porto. The butcher's counter is shut down. The fish counter hasn't been open for ages. There's very little stock in there. There are empty shelves. And it looks like they're running it down, or it's going to be changed to another. That's one of the rumors. There's going to be changed to another supermarket brand, and they're just running everything down in anticipation of that. But nobody actually knows. It's a bit like the weather. Nobody knows what's going on over there. But anyway, enough of San Martinho de Porto's woes. What would you recommend to go in the shopping bag for the first time on arrival here in Portugal?
Some Portuguese cheese.
Portuguese cheese, right? Okay. Yeah, because does Australia have a cheese tradition?
We do, but there's some great cheeses from Australia, but I think the Portuguese cheese is pretty spectacular. In fact, I took somebody who had just arrived grocery shopping the other day and just explained, because you go and you see the shelves, you think which laundry detergent is the best, and I'm like, I buy that one, and which meats, because the cuts of meat are different here. So you go through and say, okay, well, this is for that, and this is similar to this, and just gave a bit of an educational tour of the supermarket. We were there for about 2 hours browsing the aisles.
That's very reassuring, isn't it? To have someone to help you, to orientate you into the ways of the Portuguese supermarket. So cheese. Is Astrid's suggestion. We've got Michael Barton in, Squire of the Shires. Good morning, Squire, and Jackie as well. Jackie is asking this question. I don't know if you can help with this, Astrid, while you're here. It's good supermarkets that deliver to home. Continent do a home delivery service, I think, don't they?
Yes, and Auchan. Auchan deliver home. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Pingo Doce do as well. Okay. I know that Lidl and Aldi don't, but the others do. The bigger ones do.
Okay, and I was going to say, I mean, you'll miss out on the experience of shopping in Portugal, which is very educational, but maybe that's a transport issue. So you might want to go and do the shopping and then ask them to deliver it. They might do that as well. So thank you for that, Astrid. Any other highlights you want to tell us about from the world of expats Portugal?
Just that on next, what date is it? Next Thursday, there's two webinars that are happening with us. One is by our partner Holborn Assets about the golden visa, if that's of interest to you. And then after that, we've got Daniel, our favourite lawyer, coming on board and explaining about what needs to happen with wills. Is an international will. If you're living in a foreign country, what should you be doing with your wills? How do you make it applicable to the country that you're originally from, plus the country that you're in? So it's obviously quite a not a very upbeat kind of topic to be discussing, but it concerns everybody. So, international wills and how to set one up and how to get it right so that the people that you want to leave your property and assets to get their share.
And he is, of course, an expert on becoming a citizen, so we might be able to squeeze him, especially for people who stick around for the lock-in, as it were. We do a recording, and then we have the guests stay and ask a few questions off air. So if people want to ask, that's a good opportunity to do that, because he's an expert on that as well. And you mentioned the golden visa. It's not over, is it? It's just different now. And Holborn Assets.
So it's still there. In fact, we see some of our members still going down the golden visa route. So it's great if you wanted to secure your future in Portugal, and plus an investment if you've got money to invest, and you can invest that into Portugal and get a golden visa, and then citizenship. It's it is the right route for many people.
Okay, so that's next week. So we've got new arrivals, just landed, a conversation tomorrow evening, Dream Team session at 9, of course. And there's a lot going on, let's face it, in the world of visas. So let's hope that we'll have news from Gilda tomorrow evening on updates. And that shocker about about IMA charging people all of a sudden, just asking people for money to process.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah,
wow.
She was talking about, she did mention it last week because people thought it was a scam. They got these emails like, we need to pay us, I think it was anything from around 40 euros to 400 euros, depending on where you were from in the world, to expedite the process. And people quite understandably thought they were scam emails, to just hitting them up for some cash. But it was actually IMA who were doing it. And that was fresh. That was, hold the front page kind of stuff for the Dream Team session last week. So we'll find out more from Gilda tomorrow evening. Cheers, Astrid. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
You just started a whole thread of cheese conversation going on. So thank you for that. See you tomorrow evening. Take care. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao. Good day. Bon dia. Ciao, ciao. Right, there goes Astrid. And who inspired Pete to say a spoon cheese on your bread is fantastic. Now, when he talks about spoon cheese, which actually I think that's his own creation and invention there. And I found one of these in our fridge yesterday. Mrs. M had obviously ordered a tabua, a little tray of what do they call it, antipasti, is it, or a cheese and ham board anyway, from a cafe locally, I suspect. Yeah, I don't think it traveled for many miles, but I found one of these little cheeses decapitated in the fridge, stuffed with olives, which also I think she and the kids didn't get round to finishing off at the time, but wrapped it up very thoughtfully in a serviette and stuck it in the fridge. I think it's been there for it had been there for about a week. I had to give it to the dogs. I thought it may have gone past its hygienic limit last night, but it was exactly the sort of cheese you're talking about, Pete, where you take the top off, you slice the top off, and you get a spoon or two. It's so romantic, isn't it? Have a spoon each. His and hers, or his and hers and hers, dipping into the cheese and doing a bit of dairy-based spooning rather than the traditional spooning, which couples indulge in. Anyway, leaving that image in your head, don't mix the two up. If you want to mix the two up, mix the two up. It's your life. Say a spoon cheese on your bread is fantastic, as is discovering your local cheeses. But cheddar is just such a good cheese, says Pete, looking into the distance wistfully and upset that his favourite UK supplier won't deliver. You are such an aristocrat. You have a favourite cheddar cheese supplier. Who does that? Somebody with a tie, I suspect, as well. And no, they wouldn't have their own iron. They'd have someone else ironing their shirts, of course. And that has been answered. Who's got shirts? Who's got irons? Who's got ties? Where did we get to earlier on? Raquel is getting ready to chat with us behind the scenes. Always great fun talking to Raquel and very informative from the world of business. Let's get down to business. She hasn't sung that for a little while. Bon dia alegria campus, says T-Duck, and smash that like button. Be careful. But give it a nice tickle, if not a complete full-on body slam. Open at the weekend, so close Monday and Tuesday. Well, nothing wrong with that. French restaurants, that is, working time directive or something. And I don't think that's going to catch on in Portugal, is it? Maybe Monday, but you can't be shutting your cafe on a Tuesday when the people of Portugal need to eat. I haven't owned a suit or a tie for decades, says James. And should we have a dress up for the GMP week? Maybe you could. Thank you very much, Mrs. M. Coffee has arrived. Thank you. All that cheese talk. I'm a fairly cheesy talker at the best of times. I do have one or two long sleeve dress shirts. So I'm thinking maybe we can have dress up for the GMP week coming to a screen near you soon. Bon dia, Torres from the Squire. I think we've answered your question about home deliveries. Anyone get a home delivery from a supermarket here in Portugal? Or like me, do you like to go in there and see the produce inside the supermarket and take it home yourself? But I guess that is because of transport issues there, Jackie. Possibly. Bon dia, Gumpers from an overcast Miranda de Corvo. Let's ask Raquel about the weather as well. Having grown up in Portugal, she might know a thing or two about whether this is unusual this year. Or just, I mean, do we just stop saying that now? Weather is just unpredictable in this time in human history. Saya cheese, very good. I was over that way, wasn't I? About... this time last week. I just got back this time last week from the Ceia part of Portugal. Do pop over there. And of course, if you go up to the Serra da Estrela, highest point, the tour, you'll be offered ham and you'll be offered meats and cheeses on arrival and knives. I noticed there are a lot of knives on sale up there as well. Greetings from this sunny Algarve. Great birthday treat at the Penina Hotel last night. Only 5 minutes from where I live. Back to reality now. Yes. Back to the everyday poverty of life after a 5-star treatment up at the hotel last night. I hope you had a great day yesterday, Paul. I suspect you did. In fact, you made it so, didn't you? I think you posted up some pretty pithy philosophy yourself. I wonder if I can find that. You posted up something very good. And I suspect it was because it was a poignant birthday day. Oh, and actually, I've got a great picture of you. I can't find your pithy philosophy from yesterday. You were talking about time, and I don't want to misquote you. What were you saying about time yesterday? And before we go to Raquel, let me show Raquel what goes on in the United Kingdom. Or was this the United Kingdom? I think you might have said this was France, but this is what the British get up to in France. Let me put it that way. There's all this talk now, isn't there, sort of fluid gender. Young people think it's a very modern thing. But Paul was doing this 27 years ago. And if I take the comment out of his comment off the screen there, you will see how fetching his experiments were in gender fluidity back in 1997. So kids, I'm afraid it's nothing new. Your Uncle Paul was doing this years ago. And look at that. I think he can switch between the two. Be careful if you are doing any ironing, Paul, in the picture on the left, because I suspect it would be quite difficult. Punctures, at the very least, as well as not really being able to see what you're doing very well, too. Erica K, also here. Good morning to you, Erica K. Sorry to put your comment on the screen with those scandalous pictures of Paulo Ricardo there. Okay, that's better, isn't it? All right. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. We will. What's this? I'm not sure if I can read that out. General purpose. Okay. I think we can read that out. I think I will refer to this as poking, annoy a lion, and you will never be gender confused. There you go. And I'm not sure, says Erica K, it's young people who think that gender fluidity is new. Ah, very good. It's just what they do. And it's the old people getting their knickers in a twist about that. Carefully chosen words there, knickers in a twist. Okay, I'm not interested in what you're wearing. Right, nice big round of applause. And Raquel, quick, help me out here, Raquel.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, a bit confused, but very well. I'm confused about the weather. I think we've got to the bottom of gender fluidity very briefly there. And of course, you're going to help us unravel the world of starting a business here in Portugal, which can be a bit challenging, but not when you have the help of Lighthouse Consulting. So let's first start with how you are. How have you been? How's life?
Good. I've been trying to be more balanced because I think in the midst of, getting the business up and running and growing and scaling and all of that, this is a good advice to not get lost in your own endeavors, because you do need some balance at the end of the day. I think Louisa and I actually talked about this last time we were together. We can get a bit caught up, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business, because it all depends on you. And so it's nice to have a little balance. And I'm trying, like you, go to the gym and have a more balanced way of life now. And step by step, I think I'm trying to get there.
Very good. You know what? It's really funny, because I was having a conversation. I won't say with whom, because I don't have their permission to do so. But they sent me this message this very morning. This is important, what you're talking about. I'm glad to hear it, that you're doing exactly that. And I can't find it now. No, I'm going to have to read it out. I was going to put it on the screen. But the message to me was this morning. Where are we? Bear with, bear with. Yes. Are you taking good care of it? Here it is. Are you taking good care of yourself? You're not invincible. You also do so much. And that would apply to you as well, wouldn't it, Raquel? And did someone point this out to you, or did you just give yourself a good talking to?
Well, not that it wasn't quite a health scare. It was just a big headache that I had in a situation, and it wasn't serious. It's it's fine. It wasn't anything serious. I still have to do some exams and stuff like that, but it was just the wake up call. It was just the wake up call to say, why do we submit ourselves to this point of getting tired? And 3 kids, and now 2 of them very little. Just today, I mean, I didn't sleep at all tonight, because the youngest
No.
has a lot of cough and all of that. So we just have to be gracious with ourselves and give a lot of grace, because we try, and women especially, we're terrible at this, because we are our own worst enemies. We think there's a badge of honor in doing everything and taking care of everything and being superwoman, and there's not. And at that moment I was like, whoops. I have 3 kids, and it's not even about the money, Carl. This is the funny thing. For me, it's not about the money, because thank God, I have my basic things. I don't want to buy a Lamborghini. I'm not into fancy clothes or jewelry, as you can see, or anything like that. So it's about the pleasures in life. It's about spending time together. It's about traveling. And it's about having a good, nice home and a proper place and all of that. But it comes a point where you don't really stop yourself at that, and you don't give grace to what you already have, and you don't live in the moment thinking, oh my God, this is such uh, uh, this is such a precious thing, to be able to get my kids to school, put my kids to school. If they're ill, like today, I can be at home with them. I can go to the gym. But we have this guilt, at least I know women do. Like, if I go to the gym in the morning, I'm like, oh, what am I doing here? It's like I don't have anything to do. It's like I don't have any work to do. And it's not. It's something that I really need to do for myself, for my health. And of course, all of this reflects as well in the business, because the clearer I am, the fresher I am, the better I am intellectually. And so the better my work will be. But it does take some time to adjust, to, rationalize that guilt out of out of the
Yeah,
equation.
right.
So,
No, well said, and thank you for mentioning it. I mean, basically, I think what you're talking about is mindful management,
yeah.
and you can easily get on the conveyor belt, the hamster wheel, whichever metaphor you
Yeah.
prefer. And I think when you're running your own company, you can just keep going, can't you? You think, oh, that needs doing, and it's exciting, isn't it? There are things that must be done from fear of being punished, obviously. And
Yeah, no.
you're well aware of those when you run a business in Portugal. And there are the things where you think, oh, this is just so exciting, I can't stop. I want to do this. And there are these phases of expansion. And I think the time of year is like that as well. Louisa's going through an incredible expansion with her YouTube channel and is really excited about it and really giving a lot to it. And it's spring, isn't it? It's spring as well. We've come out of, well,
Everything is growing.
yes, it is. It is. So we're rising with that tide of this time of the year. But be careful, as Raquel has been pointed out to me, and as Raquel has very, very brilliantly suggested this morning. If you are running a business, remember to take time out to enjoy your success as well as creating it. Right?
Yes, and delegate. This is something that I didn't want to do immediately, and then I started doing it about a year ago, and now I'm like completely dependent on my team. Michele and Vera, shout out to you both.
Yes. Morning to you.
And it's not only that. I mean, for instance, they when you're a sole entrepreneur, it's all in your head, and it is positive to have other people's views and opinions on board, especially people that care about you, that care about your business. And for instance, both of them just kind of gave me an intervention of some sort because of it was an image thing. It's not I mean, it's not relevant to talk about that here, but it was relevant in the sense that I was deviating from myself, from my true self. So I was trying almost to go to an image of executive image, a serious image, where I'm not. I mean, I am very good at what I do. I'm a very professional person, but I am not a serious how do you call
Isn't that like a business stereotype? You're not a business
yes, that
stereotype. No.
I am I use a lot of sense of humor with my clients. That's one of the things that connects me to them.
Mm.
I'm not a serious person, like with a serious face all the time. Quite the contrary, I'm a goofy person. And that doesn't mean that I'm not professional at all. And so I was kind of deviating, kind of getting into that mindset that, if I want to be taken serious, I have to look a certain way and I have to act a certain way. And that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit.
Yes.
If you have your own business and you're selling, your personality is selling, you are selling. It's not if you try to get stuck into someone else's image or someone else's mind frame of what you should be. It's not it took me like a video that I was watching and I was like, oh, I hate that. Oh my god, who's that? I hate that. Because
Yeah.
I looked like a freaking judge. I looked like 20 years older, which is a no. And I looked like a judge and I was like, what the hell? What happened?
Hold on a
When
minute.
did I lose myself?
You did a sort of social media video maybe, and you looked at it and thought, what happened to me? You had a
We did a
moment.
shooting day. We shot dozens of videos, and I was more worried about the content, of course, than how I looked, of course. So then it all went to get posted. And just when it got posted was when I looked at it and said, I hate this. Who is this person?
Yeah. What?
And they pointed this out to me. I mean, if you look at my Instagram, you see that there's like 4 or 5 different personalities there, and only one is me. Only one is the true me, which is the
Wow.
one you see right now, which is the one Carl and Luisa
Yes.
knows, and everybody that knows me personally knows. So I was getting lost in my way, and thank God I have a great team that were generous enough to give me that care and love, to point that out to me and to help me get in my way. And as you see, I have great new pictures and I
Yes.
look very good at them, in them with lots of colors, more me, and we'll be starting to use them more and more. So
Well done you.
don't lose yourselves.
Some great nuggets this morning
Yes.
already. Thank you very much, and thanks for being here this morning. I mean, with the little one not feeling so well, you legend. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
Working moms, says Erica K, are superhuman. It's easy to
They
get
are.
yeah. and lost by the sound of it, which is
Yes.
the situation you described there. So, yes, some treasure there. Don't forget to celebrate your success. And if maybe if you feel like you're getting lost, you might be, and it's worth taking some time out to reconsider that. And I guess what you're suggesting as well is expressing your authentic self, because that's
sure.
what people are buying, really, aren't they? And if they've bought a wrong version of you, you're going to have to keep delivering that, aren't you? So you might as well be yourself anyway.
Exactly. I mean, I uh, I have something that, as much as an advantage that it may be my downfall. I hope it's not, but it's the personal connection that I get with my clients. It's on the one-on-one sessions, and I had an experience. I tried to, remember the master class for freelancing. It was
Yeah.
a flop. I'm completely transparent. It was a complete flop. And
Okay.
yet I still sell the one-on-one sessions just the same. So it was a matter of realizing, okay, people really do want and prefer my one-on-one sessions, even if they're more expensive, even if they're not for everyone. This connection is what people are searching for and need and crave. And so this is what I'm going to keep doing to them. Of course, it makes it difficult to scale. At the same time, the clients that I receive are wanting me. They're not trying to figure me out. They want me because they know me already, and what you see is what you get. So
Yeah.
this is what they want. And so that, if I do something different, online on Instagram or social media or whatever, and then when I get to the one-on-one session, I'm my goofy self, people are like, oh, sorry, I didn't think this was, I thought this would be different. So and it makes no sense to be something that you're really not, but it does take a while because, people pleaser, all of that.
Yeah.
It takes some years apparently to shave that off of you.
Yep.
And what I'm seeing is that is what works for me, because people do ask and prefer the one-on-one sessions with me. They want me to deal exclusively and directly with them. They'd rather pay a premium version, a premium fee, but be with me. So I'm trying to respect that, and trying to go with the flow with that.
Please tell me about how as long as this isn't too traumatic, how did it flop? Because I think maybe what you're suggesting here is we do get influenced, don't we, by these some of these other consultants on social media, and these people who come up with messages like, "Hold on a minute, stop what you're doing, stop scrolling for a moment. Do you want to know how to make several gazillion dollars just
5 minutes.
but in 5 minutes, just drinking coffee and eating pastel de natas in Portugal? Sign up for my webinar, my
Yeah.
masterclass below." And there's this whole genre, isn't there, that's quite alluring and attractive, of course. Get rich quick.
Yeah.
We all, we
it,
all love a bit of that at some level, don't we? And there is a way at the moment, a particular way of like the funnel and, be a client magnet and all these things. And you think to yourself, well, hold on a minute. If these people are so good at that, why are they selling courses? And why aren't
that
they? Yes. Was it a little bit of that then? Did you get drawn into that kind of vibe?
No, I did get drawn into that 2 years ago,
Mm,
because I didn't know anything, and I started to read the research, and that's what appears. That's exactly what appears when you start to
yes.
research.
Yeah.
What I did now was nothing like that. It was just my attempt to scale a business that is very much dependent on only one person, and so I cannot multiply myself. And I do have online courses, as you know, in my website, but I still think that, and they sell, it's not the point, but what I've seen people do is like, th- it's fine, but with other four people in the mix, I don't know if you were going to answer my personal questions. I'd still have questions that I might be embarrassed to make with the other people. Or, for instance, there was one person that told me, at that specific date I couldn't. So that's also an issue. But it was a sense of, okay, how do I scale this freelancing registering service that I do with just me? And the only way that I thought about scaling is using me all the same, but just getting more people in the room instead
Yep.
of a one-on-one doing, call it a masterclass, call it a multi-people session, whatever it is. Maybe it was the masterclass that threw them away because everybody's doing masterclasses these days. So maybe that was it. I'm still trying to figure out. I think this is important. We have to be humble enough to know that we're learning, and that not everything that we're going to do is going to be successful, but that's a learning process, that's a learning curve. And so if I didn't sell the one-on-one sessions, I would be worried. But since I do, then it's not a matter of me, it's a matter of how people want my service to be done, and it's what they value in me. And apparently what they value is the exclusivity of being, of having no one else around, being able to ask whatever they want, because people sometimes are like, not embarrassed, but they think their questions are stupid, or that their questions mean that they really don't know anything. And I keep saying there's no stupid questions, everything is legit, you don't have to know anything. That's why I'm here, because I don't know, rocket science. I don't know, a lot of other things. I know this. So don't be worried about not knowing this, because this is what I'm here for. So I think that it was also something like people want the reservation and they want the confidentiality that you have with the one-on-one session, you know.
Yes.
So
Well,
trying
very
to figure it
interesting.
out.
No, and it's a process I go through as well, and I agree with you. I think especially with an older demographic, people don't like being this feeling of being
Exposed.
herded into a great big webinar situation, and it's okay, isn't it? But really, for any sort of profound learning, as I think Erica's saying here, I prefer to pay professionals by the hour, get
See?
bespoke, unique, personal attention. So she likes your format and
Yeah.
anything to do with taxes, legal stuff, language learning, etc. 1-to-1. Cool beans. You've got the cool beans review. And while we're on this subject, and we'll find out exactly what you can do for freelancers, because there's more of them coming to Portugal. No question about that. Erica
That's
K also
coming.
saying lots of chat about gender sometimes. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Maybe someday we can hear from the folks who lived or with lived experience from, I don't know what ILGA is, but yes, I'm very open to having a chat. Do you know what ILGA is?
Yes, it's the League for LGBTQ plus a people in Portugal. So it's an association of some sort, if you want to.
Okay, well, they don't have many letters there, but perhaps I get I get the gist. We will get somebody from. Well, can you help us with that, Erica? It's not that I don't want to speak to people; it's that I don't have contacts sometimes. So if you have somebody in mind who you think would be a good speaker, then by all means, just get them on and have a chat exactly about that. And I totally agree with you. I was listening to a phone in last night. It was about knife crime in London, and it was the phone in host was pontificating with other people ringing in. None of them sounded like young people on the front line of London life. And I think when you have a conversation about something, it's like nothing about us without us. When I used to work in the world of disability, that was a phrase there. Nothing about us without us. You need representation. So point taken. By all means, find us somebody from Portugal's ILGA organization, and we shall have a chat with them. On the matter of figuring out who your ideal clients are, we're talking about business, of course, because Raquel's with us from Lighthouse Consulting, as she is every month. It's not just about what they want as customers. I became very clear about who my ideal clients would be, and my
True.
practice was always a joy. That's a brave step, though, isn't it? Because when you're new in business, you're thinking, "Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yes.
I'll take the money from whatever direction it will come from." But would you recommend what James is saying here?
Oh, for sure. And I did that journey myself. I mean, at the start, I was, we have a Portuguese saying, because this
Of
wouldn't
course you do.
be this wouldn't be me without a Portuguese saying. Tudo que vem à rede é peixe. Anything that strikes the net when you're fishing is a fish. So it's like everything is game.
Yes.
And at first, it's like that. I mean, even if you don't like the service, even if it's something beneath, your intellectual abilities or whatever it is, even if you don't like it, you do it. Thank God I'm now at a place where I can choose my clients, and thank God my clients are like chosen for me, because they're always recommended. My marketing team is word of mouth are my clients. So when they come to me, they know me. And usually if they're recommended by a client of mine, I already like the person, because I really like my clients. I mean, last Friday, yes, Carl, my clients treated me to a Michelin star dinner at Fortaleza do Guincho. That's how good my clients are.
That's
Okay.
not too bad, is it? That's not
I
too bad
mean,
at all.
I have like a little contest between my clients. At least I like to think that I have a contest with my clients, like who's the better client that I have, depending on the
Oh, and
gifts that they give me.
oh, okay. So well done for signaling that on the show this morning. Other clients of Raquel and Lighthouse Consulting, you've got to raise your game a bit, I think. So
Of course, because we
where's the next?
started like with chocolates, and then came a bottle of champagne. And I was like, this is getting interesting. And then Friday, I think there was a knockout because it was
Let's
like
really
a
go from there.
30th course meal with wine pairing. Absolutely crazy. I never in my life thought I would experience something like that. And it was because, it was a way of them, thanking me because again, when you establish a one-on-one and a connection with a person, if they ask me something, I'm not going to charge for everything I do to them, because then there's a connection, there's trust, there's anything. And so I did a few things, and they kept asking me for the invoice, and I said, okay, I will. Okay, I will. And I never did, of course, because I didn't think, those were services that required, charging. And so they treated me to this wonderful dinner at Fortaleza do Guincho, which I will never forget. Flip and
Sounds
Astrid,
great.
thank
We
you
need to
so
know more
much.
about that. Where is this? Is this a restaurant in Cascais?
Yes, with the Michelin star. I mean,
Wow.
it's right
Okay.
in Guincho, so
Yeah.
over the beach, uh, and sunset is right over the beach, so you see the sunset, as the sun gets swallowed by the sea. And I was drinking a glass of champagne,
All right,
so I was
I've heard enough now. Thank you very much. Well
sorry.
done. Well done. No, you absolutely deserve that.
I
And
mean,
that sounds absolutely wonderful. And clearly they thought, this woman is invaluable. She's not sending us invoices like we've asked. We'll reward her in a different way. We'll take her out
and
for
I told them, I'm never going to issue an invoice to you ever again, whatever you ask me. Ever.
superb. And a nice signal to the rest of your client base. Come on, raise your game, all you Lighthouse Consulting folks. Oh, and on that note, may I say thank you to Mark as well. Mark, who you've seen, if you're a long time listener, we had Mark move from Norfolk, as I recall, to Portugal, and he was part of the Kinta crew. He's been working on the land in central Portugal, and he very kindly mentioned that he's got a bottle of wine for me, Raquel.
See?
Yeah, got a bottle of wine for you here, and some of the other gumpers, some of the other wine ninjas on the wine club have got this same wine that he's made with his own hands. It's a
Wow.
Vinho Tinto, first vintage 23, following the purchase of his small vineyard in Sobreira Formosa in Portugal. The wine is made from the Toriga Nacional grape, as we would expect, perhaps, the absolute legendary grape of Portugal. No pesticides have been used in the vineyard since he purchased it in 22. All of the work on the vines is undertaken lovingly by hand. The wine has been tested by Centro Ciência Viva de Floresta, one of the Portugal's regional agriculture centres, 13% ABV and 3.4 on the pH. Have we got some lovely people in our communities? Thank you, Mark, for that bottle of wine there, which I haven't got just yet, but I will make sure we do by the time we have another wine club. And yes, here's to more Michelin star restaurant experiences. In fact, I think Mrs. M's promising you one here. You're worth a Michelin star experience. We treat you to a virtual one on Friday. Oh, that's not the same, is it? A virtual one.
I don't care. I'll take it.
Let's see what that's like, a virtual meal. You might
Exactly.
leave hungry. Bring a packed lunch for that, right? So
There's Mac.
we haven't even talked about what you're doing for folks, really. And freelancing, I think it'd be a useful thing to talk about today, because there are
Yes.
more people now moving to Portugal to set up businesses. In fact, I was in Salida de Porto around the bay yesterday, and the wonderful Claire is setting up a co-working space. It's a little village,
Mhm.
Raquel, on the other side of the bay from San Martino de Porto, and she's setting up a
Wow.
co-working space. It's incredible, all the facilities that she's developing there, and It's for this nomad experience. People coming to Portugal, wanting a place to work because they know they can go for a swim or a surf
Yeah,
and
it's
be in the
wonderful.
most amazing backdrop and do a bit of work from time to time from their laptop as well. Now, the question that comes up for people is, what do they do? How do they invoice? Should they become registered as a freelancer? Daniel, who we mentioned earlier on today, was talking about this. He didn't. He was given, I think, an €8, some kind of stipend or allowance. He was paid €8. He didn't declare it because he thought €8,
Yeah,
€8. I don't need to bother with that. Don't need to register that. He got a fine for €80 for his trouble with that. So it is important to register, isn't it? And
it is.
processing, if you're taking money in Portugal, best to get set up before and at the beginning rather than receiving these letters in the post later on with the government telling you, we know about that €8 and now you owe
Yeah.
us €80. What should people do? How do people get started?
Well, they contact me. That would
Yes,
be a
of course.
great first step.
And take you out for lunch and a Michelin star experience.
You
Yes.
know, that's extra. If they want to do that in another time, that's fine. No,
Which they
but really do start with me or with any other good professional by their side, because for complete transparency's sake, you can do this online yourself. I mean, it's in the tax portal. You don't pay anything. It's a free service. You can do that yourself.
yeah.
I do not recommend that at all, because there's a lot of different steps. It's not a user-friendly portal, as anyone that's ever gone knows. And this is something that I've asked my clients post session is, okay, so what did you think? Did you think this was worth it? And people are like, I would never be able to do this alone. I wouldn't be able to go through the first step, let alone, continue until the end. And it's not only that, there's a lot of training involved when I register a freelancer, because people are coming in the country, they don't know how taxes work. Some of them have never been entrepreneurs or business people, so they don't know what VAT is. They don't know what Social Security is. They don't know the difference between corporate tax and personal tax. They don't even know how they're going to be taxed, and so they're afraid of everything and their shadows. So we need to demystify and to make these things simple, and that's what I do. That's what I'm here for. But having said that, you should definitely register, because I see a lot of people just smiling and waving and continuing their activity here as if they were not in Portugal, but they are in Portugal, and they need to realize that Portugal may consider that they have a right to tax, as in your situation that you just referred to. So it's a fairly simple process, in the sense that it's immediate. Once you register, it's immediately there. You can issue invoices immediately. It's a fairly complicated process, in the sense that although it's facilitated because it's in a tax portal, you don't need to go to any service. There are a lot of steps that you need someone to accompany you with, so you do things the right way from the start, and then that you have the tools to understand what you're doing, to understand what your obligations will be, so that you won't pay any fines. You'll be prepared. You'll know how the system works and how you can do the most with the system. Because for instance, I explain the e-fatura. You have deductions that you can do, like groceries and stuff. Nobody knows this, so I go through this as well. I register people through Social Security if need be. I even register people in NHR, last year at the same time. So there's a lot of things that we can do in the same session. And I think that it is very important for people to have the right start, have the right tools, have the right knowledge. They may not know everything. Sometimes you need like a second session. And of course, as you know, after this first session and this first connection, I'm always available through WhatsApp and stuff. So I usually give out an email, so that it's a written thing, so people can, refer to it often, with the explanation of the VAT, with the explanation of the taxes, of Social Security, so that people are safe in what they're doing, and especially that they can concentrate on what they need to do, which their business. They need to
Yes.
invoice. They need to know how to invoice, which is something that it's very simple once you know, but when you don't, it's like,
But
do I
even
need a
once,
software? Do I need?
even once you know, you're thinking, have I still done it right? So that's very
Yeah,
reassuring. I wasn't sure
yeah.
how to put this, but
Oh,
Raquel's mic is popping and crackling a lot. I think it's because it's too close to her mouth. So if you can
sorry.
move that a little bit, that'll probably be better.
Yeah,
I think
like so.
that's great. Thank you for pointing that out. Well, let's see how we get on with that, Raquel. And that's the link to your website, by the way. We've got a
Yeah,
few comments, and I won't keep you too long because obviously you've got a lot going on at home, as you've said there.
that's fine.
So being paid what you were worth, that was an interesting comment. And I think actually Mr. S was asking you how much are you worth there? And the virtual Michelin star experience that you can look forward to on Friday. Oh, we've also had Mindful Midlife Travel join us. Hello. Good morning, bon dia. And no, different Mark. Not Mark from Norfolk, Virginia, but Mark from Norfolk, UK. We loved our recon visit. The little reconnaissance mission to Portugal last month. Well, you need to come on the show and tell us about that. So why don't you drop me a line, 913-590-303. We like the sound of you and the cut of your jib there, Mindful Midlife Travel. Maybe you can join us on a Monday when we do Mindful Migration with James, of course. Thank you, James, for your producer input there. And Antonio, I missed that point. I was working. What's the question about fish? Now, that's because Antonio has been very, very diligently adding Portuguese sayings. And I know you said something about this when you first saw it, Raquel, but over on the Portugal Club, we now have over 360 comments because Antonio finds a comment, not a comment, a Portuguese saying, and pops it in the comments over there. And I'm too slow with my Portuguese to remember what you said. But what was that? When you're fishing, everything's a fish that touches the net?
Tudo o que cai à rede é peixe.
There you go, Antonio.
Everything that enters the net is a fish.
Right, and I was wondering if we had that one over there. I don't. I think that's a new one on me. We shall see if Antonio has that in his encyclopedic collection of Portuguese sayings over there, and they're really helpful because they give you an insight into the Portuguese psyche as well as a little bit of language and culture at the same time. So, before you go, anything else you need to tell us about becoming a freelancer? You know, we used to deal with a lot of people who are retiring to Portugal. Now, many more working, coming on the nomad kind of vibe, setting up companies, or they have retired and they're thinking to themselves, I'd like to start a little, something a little bit of a side hustle. And obviously they need to go through the same process for doing that. You mentioned rocket science. Actually, rocket science is easier than using the Finances portal, isn't it? So anything else people should know?
Well, aside from really do try to get the best professionals by your side because that is important. Do reach out. Don't try to do it on your own. It's a different system. Reach out. I mean, the Portuguese people are very, very helpful, and we're always here to help. It's an important thing as well that I'm Portuguese, and so not to shade my expats colleagues or anything, but sometimes it's important to have Portuguese local people handle certain things, and certainly bureaucracy is one of the important things to have a Portuguese taken care of. So surround yourself with good professionals, delegate, don't get, too wrapped up in your business. Enjoy life. You came to Portugal, do not lose that. Enjoy some white wine and sardinhas and make the best of it.
I can't think of better advice to be leaving people with. And I'll tell you what, one more thing before you go. Look at this. We've got a producer in James here, still popping a bit, but much better. So thank you for that, Raquel. I quite like it. It makes you sound like an airline pilot. Could you just quickly say cabin to cross-check for us?
Yes. What? Captain to cross-check?
Cabin to cross-check.
Good morning. This is Lighthouse Consulting Airlines. We are now reaching our destination, Cascais.
Very good. Sounds like you've done that before. Very good.
I haven't.
You were mentioning, and yes, don't diversify into that. You're busy enough already. Thank you, Raquel from Squire of the Shows. Portuguese people are friendly and helpful. Yeah. I think it's in the law that if somebody asks you for help, you have to give it as a Portuguese person. And I'll tell you what, with the business, until we found you, we had met a lot of very well-meaning and helpful Portuguese people. But the key word that you've used is professionals. When it comes to tax, everyone will help you and they'll say, oh, finances is easy. Don't worry about that. Or you don't have to worry about that, because rather than not give you an answer, they'll give you an answer to make you feel good. And there's nothing wrong with
and
that.
it's terrible. And don't get me started on the Facebook groups, on the freaking Facebook groups. Jesus.
Yes. I mean, but it's fair to say, isn't it, the Portuguese people are programmed to help and support. But when it comes to the business stuff, make sure you go to a professional. We're going to meet somebody.
Let me just show it quickly.
Olá, bom dia, tudo bem? Oh,
Well, this is Alice.
Hello, Alice. Olá, bom dia. Tudo bem?
Bom dia.
Prazer.
The school thought I was sick, but I am not. I just
I want to go now.
Troll them. I just trolled them as usual. I'm really.
We will not keep you. We will not keep you. Thank you so much, Raquel, for fitting us into your incredibly busy schedule. I'm glad to hear that you're taking great care of yourself. And we'll see you on Friday, as Mrs. M says. Take care and bye for now. Ciao. Legend. Bye for now. See ya. Excellent. Oh, wow. What a woman. And okay, don't forget, over there, if you're a Portugal Club member, I'll just put the link in for that. That is amazing. Look. Hola, Alice from Mrs. M there. And if you are a Portugal Club member, that's the link for all those wonderful sayings over there. Take a look if you think there's anything missing from there, or you have a special request of Antonio. Don't put too much pressure on the man. He's incredible in what he gives to this community, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind the occasional request, or like, oh, I heard one the other day that was something to do with a hammer and a cannonball. Do you know that one? And he'll say, yeah, that's this one. Never strike a cannonball with a hammer on a Friday. Something like that. Hit that like button, folks, from the man himself, Antonio there. And minimum monthly income required is how much on the Nomad visa? I don't know the answer to that. And I'm not going to just try and be helpful with that. Actually, I am. I'm not going to give you a number because I don't know the number. But what I'll say to you is join us for the Dream Team session tomorrow night that I host over at Expats Portugal. And Queen of the Visas, Gilles, is probably the best person to answer that. And she should be with us from 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. Paul Rees at Rural Properties. I know him. Great to talk to you the other day, by the way, Paul. But join us for that session tomorrow night, Dream Team with Gildas. You know the answer to that. Scoop off, I'm missing most of the program. You have been missed. There is a João Ernesto vacuum as well in these last couple of days. Off to Madrid for a couple of days and then back to Tomar, SMDP. Yes, we'll see you then. Are you joining us? Is that coinciding with the fourth Wednesday lunch? We have Sarah Davey from Spartan Effects joining us. If you want to meet her in real life, you can do that next Wednesday in San Martino de Porto, which is what SMDP stands for on the screen there. And I've got a little sub-website, lovesmdp.com, if you want to find out more about San Martino de Porto. But also going to Jerez and then back to Ponte Lima, one of João Ernesto's legendary itineraries. That's going to be great. Your family are very lucky to have you organizing travel for them. Pete saying safe travels to you. Have a wonderful time. There are some cracking places on that list. Absolutely right. And great show as always, the Global Nobles. Everybody, look, they're here as well this morning. Lovely to see you. And excellent to be talking to Raquel, of course. Always something useful that Raquel shares with us, even if you're not starting a business. Right. I didn't ask her about blooming weather, did I? Antonio, could you help us with this? Do you think the weather is really weird in Portugal this year, or is that just how things have become over the last maybe 5 years or so? Astrid was saying, she was accustomed to a short autumn and a short spring, and then straight into either a very cold and damp winter for a month or two, and that awesome summer that we come here for, maybe 4 or 5 months of unadulterated sunshine. Antonio F., what is going on? I'll have a look at some of the newspapers about that in a moment, but we will first have a look at the actual weather. This is the Portugal weather with Dynasty Homes. Talking of which, Bobby O'Reilly, hopefully joining us on Friday of this week, because he'll be responding too in the way that Steve has done from Home Miners to the new government's response. Well, they've picked up the baton, haven't they, of the Mais Habitação legislation that the last government proposed, you could say part of their undoing. In fact, the new government has come in and is basically getting rid of a few very unpopular things and chucking in a few things of their own and wanting to move quite fast, it sounds like, on a number of things. We'll get Bobby O'Reilly responding to that on Friday, hopefully. Pete says the weather has been a nightmare, especially for vineyard owners. Yeah, I think when I talked to Hugh over in Visio, he was saying that. He can actually tell me, as he looked at each vine leaf, and the brown marks on it. He said, that's from the hailstones last week. And that little bit of damage there you can see is from last month. It was amazing. Weather has been changing in the last years, a bit weird sometimes. Thank you, Antonio, for that. And we were in Albufeira from the 12th to the 16th of April. And everyone we visited with said it was extra warm. Yeah, and then suddenly it's raining again and gone very cold. Mrs. M had the radiator on in the studio yesterday. It's up and down, like whichever metaphor you prefer to use for up and downness. Right, okay, let's have a look at that weather, shall we then? Let's have a little bit of a deep dive into the weather this morning and see what's going on around the various regions of Portugal. In the capital at the moment, and this is goodmorningportugal.com, by the way. If you click on the home tab, you can see all sorts of things over there, including this, the weather, the Dynasty Homes weather. Lisbon, currently 15 degrees with a few clouds, and that will rise to 18. Some rain midweek, and then it's going to heat up. Now, somebody was saying to me that the warm weather will return. It was Paolo Fanassi, wasn't it? Paolo was saying, that's it now. We're going to be having good weather from around now and for the rest of the summer. How he knows that, I don't know. I'm going to see if I can find the link that or the message that he posted up this morning to see if he's got a specific link to that tease that he gave us this morning. So I shall come back to that in a little while if I can find that. But yeah, let's have a quick look at the weather for this morning then and the rest of the week. If you need it in Fahrenheit, that's 59 in the capital at the moment, rising to 64, and some rain. I said midweek because I was thinking this was Monday for some reason. It's Wednesday today, everybody, in case you need to know that. And Friday, we'll see a little bit of rain. And then a little bit of sunshine peeking out from behind the clouds. And a higher temperature of 20 degrees for the coming weekend, 68 Fahrenheit. In Porto, it's raining at the moment, apparently, with broken clouds at 11 degrees, rising to 15. And rain is forecast for the next 4 days and a nice sunny Sunday at 18 degrees and a Monday of 17 degrees. But sunshine forecast for the beginning of next week in Porto and Coimbra, where it's often warm. We have 23 degrees coming our way on Sunday, but accompanied by some rain. So rainy days ahead for the next, for the foreseeable future, it would look like, until next week in Coimbra in central Portugal. Faro down in the south, sunny today at 20 degrees, currently 14 with a few clouds, and a sunny Friday. Cloudy tomorrow and cloudy on Saturday, but sunshine. That's what Paolo's talking about. Sunny days from Sunday and for next week. Temperatures of 21 to 23 degrees. Good time to fly into Faro and the Algarve next week. Braga, 14 degrees will be the high today. Some rain there as well for the rest of the week by the look of it. 10 degrees currently, rising to 14. Aveiro, 13 degrees with broken clouds at the moment, rising to 16. And a similar picture there of rain until the weekend. Beja, currently sunny, however, with 21. Look at that, rising from 11 to 21 later today. Some cloudy weather for tomorrow and Friday, and a nice sunny day. Look at that, 25 degrees on Saturday in the Alentejo. Castelo Branco, where you might expect it to be hot next week, it will be 25, rising to 25, Pete, next Tuesday, and a nice warm weekend for you of 23 degrees. You can get out on the tractor, but a couple of days of rain, Thursday, Friday, and a little bit cloudy today for you, rising to 17 later. Evra, 20 at the moment. Actually, no, 11 at the moment, rising to 20 later. 21 degrees tomorrow and some cloud for Thursday and Friday, and some sunny weather Saturday with 23 the high, and rising to 25 next week, but still cloudy there. Leiria, our district here, San Martino de Porto. Please remind me to tell you what the menu will be next Wednesday at the Storytellers. I know we've got a polvo starter, which I'm looking forward to, but I'll give you the rest of that before we go this morning. Leiria, 17 degrees the high today, at 16 at the moment with a few clouds and rain. Not good. The in-laws are arriving today. for a while, coming back to enjoy San Martino de Porto. But I'm afraid to say, in-laws, outlaws, it's going to be rainy until, next week, where it's still cloudy, but a bit warmer at 20 degrees. That's what they'll be looking for when they come over here, 20 degrees next Tuesday. So, yeah, that's not great right now. Santarém, and yes, it's part of this crazy weather that I think we're experiencing at the moment. It shouldn't be quite so rainy, should it, at this time of year? 15th of May. Santarém, 14 at the moment with a clear sky. 19 the high, cloudy, and a bit of rain for Thursday and Friday. Sunny weekend in Santarém, though. Highs of 21 and 23, respectively, on Saturday and Sunday. And Viseu is 9 degrees at the moment with scattered clouds. 13 the high today, rain all the way through to next week. Hugh is not going to, is he going to like that? He doesn't need more rain for his vines over there, does he? As we took a look at last week when we were live and direct from his wonderful home there in Viseu, or just outside in Tondela. And let's have a look at the autonomous regions before we finish with the weather today. Zores, 15 degrees with broken clouds at the moment, rising to 18. And Madeira, 7 degrees, a very, very mild 7 degrees, and rising to 10 today. The outlook for the Azores is rainy Thursday and Friday, a sunny Saturday, and a bit changeable for next week. A sunny Monday at 19 degrees, and in Madeira, we're looking at rain pretty much for the foreseeable future as well, with temperatures reaching only as high as 13 and 12 tomorrow and Friday, and then a cooler week next week. Weird. What do you think is going on with the weather at the moment? Dougie is here. Snoop, Dougie Douglas is here, everybody. I'm back in Portugal on the 19th of May. Bring some weather, decent weather with you. It was awesome all through Abril. You say that. I think you just picked very wisely and coincidentally, fortuitously, Doug, while you were here. It's getting hot next week, 28 here. And then continues mindful midlife travel. Then on our way from Tomar to Lisbon on the 20th of April in the afternoon, we had a hailstorm. There you go. After a decent sunny day, very changeable. So 28 by Thursday of next week, says Pete. What do you use, Pete, for your weather forecasting? Have you got some Tesla seaweed hanging up in your vineyards? I wonder. Let us know. And if anyone does have a reliable, I don't know how reliable. In all honesty, complete transparency, how reliable my weather pages are. But what weather pages are reliable these days? Let's have a look at, talking of pages, let's have a look at the front pages and searching for weather on both the Portugal News and the Portugal Resident. Let's see what is catching our eye over there. I'll bring that onto the screen for you in just a moment. And I'll let you know what's going on with that menu. If you want to come to San Martino de Porto and have a visit, not that I can promise you excellent weather next Wednesday, but we'll be inside in the luxurious 5-star Storytellers experience, and we'll have our own special private menu for lunch next Wednesday, and I'll tell you exactly what that menu is in a few minutes. Unusually warm weather forecast for this week. Well, when was that? Oh, that was the 9th of April. Bad weather destroying a beachside boardwalk in Carteira. Albufeira postpones Seafest due to bad weather. Oh, I've got a little video actually going. I'm going to go up to the north and play you a little video teaser of some of the festivals that are going on up in the north of the country. Civil protection. Oh, these are going back a while, but they do paint a picture of very changeable and extreme weather. And in a recent conversation with Nuno Mensch from Windsurance, he was saying that he's got wind of, pardon the pun, not that he's got wind. He got wind of the fact that some American insurance companies are now not insuring against the weather. They have dropped that in some home policies. They are not insuring against the weather, and this was in California. Crazy times, right? That's the Portugal Resident. Let's have a look at what the Portugal News search brings up for their weather coverage. And the changeable weather that we're seeing here in Portugal, well, and all over the world. Let me bring that onto the screen for you now. What have we got over here? I searched for weather, and I ended up with a rally driver for some reason. Drought returns to Portugal. This, interestingly, was yesterday, and somebody accused I don't know whoever it was they were accusing, but the accusation was, we're being told things that go against our direct experience. I think they're talking about the drought version of gaslighting. Weather cooling down, another headline over there. 30 degrees back in the early part of this month, 6th of May. odd times. And where is the Algarve's most picturesque beach? That's not exactly what I was looking for. But if we go to drought returning to Portugal, we'll see that last month was the 6th driest April since 2000, with a total of precipitation corresponding to 56% of the 1981 to 2010 average value. Well, thank goodness for that, because I keep a close eye on that, with the weak drought class having re-emerged. I don't know what that means. We just need to know where on the stick, in the water, in the lake, the level is, don't we? The numbers are part of the April 2024 climatological bulletin released by the Portuguese Institute of the Sea and Atmosphere. That's IPMA, and their website's very good, by the way. I will actually share that with you. That's probably quite a good weather source. I was asking Pete, wasn't I, who his favorite weather source was. IPMA is a pretty good place to go. So I will copy that for you and stick it into the chat. According to which, at the end of the month, around 8% of the territory was in mild meteorological drought, which doesn't make sense to people, does it, after all the rain we've had? Although we did talk recently, didn't we, about terrible infrastructure. I think that was Paul Rees actually talking about how, yes, we've had a lot of rain, but it's all leaking out of the pipes anyway. At the end of March, no area of the continent was in drought, with the mild drought class emerging at the end of April. So after all the rain, in the municipalities of Mertola and Villarreal de Santo Antonio, in the last 12 months, only in March, there were no areas experiencing drought of any type: weak, moderate, severe, or extreme. What do you make of that? Please let me know, and let me just pop the link to IPMA into the chat. There it is. And it's been 20 plus degrees in Wales. That's a bit of a choker, isn't it? When you plan a holiday to Portugal or Spain or somewhere else in Southern Europe, and you're having better weather back home. YR is the best local app. So if we type just YR and weather, we're going to get a useful search on that, are we, Pete? Thank you for that. I don't know what that stands for. And, says Pete, there is a strange irony that was the best app, Dark Sky, which was pinpoint accurate and was bought out by Apple and is now amazingly awful. Apple do tend to do that with some of their apps, don't they? Notably and famously with their maps, their map app. So YR then is the best one now that Apple have completely ruined Dark Sky. Thank you very much for that. I was going to tell you, wasn't I, about the menu for next Wednesday over at the Storytellers. Do come and join us for that. It's going to be great. Let me find out my message from my mate over at the Storytellers there. Miguel, thank you for sending me this. We're going to be starting with salada de polvo, the traditional Portuguese octopus salad. However, and there will be an alternative, of course, for anyone who would prefer not to eat octopus. That will be reimagined by Chef Marco over there. The fish dish will be choquinhos na grelha Algarvia, at Algarvia. And I don't know what choquinhos are. That will be, I think that is chicken in an Algarvian style. The fish, no, what am I talking about? Choquinhos are the fish dish, which I don't know what they are. The chicken will be the guiano churrasco. So we'll be having the piri grilled chicken, I think, also reinvented by Marco. And the vegetarians will be enjoying a ravioli de beterraba y requeijo. So that's a cheese and beetroot ravioli, isn't it? Or you can have a tofu cheese. There you go, Pete, especially for you. And the sobremesa, the dessert, will be a mascarpone con lima e menta, a lime and mint mascarpone. Yes! Oh, my goodness. Can't wait. Do join us. It's 25 euros a head. We will... Oh, choquinhos are the little cuttlefish. Thank you very much for that. Choco. That's right. Thank you very much, Antonio. What would we do without you? Choquinhos, little cuttlefish. That I'm looking forward to that. And I'm really quite torn. Gonna need to have someone double up with me. We'll have one fish, one meat, and we'll do a little bit of a swap. Who will partner up with me for that? They killed it. You're not talking about the cuttlefish. I think you're talking about the weather app there. And Larry, good morning to you, Larry. Bon dia, tudo bem? Linda is back in Arizona with mid-30s and 38 on the chart for the weekend. And all I have to worry about is lunch at Storytellers. I know. And you have my sympathies. I mean, how does one make a decision whether to have the cuttlefish or the grilled chicken, Larry? Maybe you and I can double up on that. And we'll have a little bit of each. See you there, mate. I take it you are joining us for that. And no selfies of us having lunch at the Storytellers to be sent back to Arizona. Okay, deal? Combinado? Very good. So let me know if you want to come along and join us for that. It'd be lovely to have your company. That little video I was going to play for you. And you know, I've always said here in Portugal, I don't know why they don't market the entire country as a party capital of the world, because from around now, weather permitting, and through until about Christmas and including Christmas, it's party time here in Portugal. And these are just a few of the things that are happening up. Marvelous. That's just a small smattering. And that young lady needs to put some trousers on. She'll catch a death of cold walking about like that, especially up in the north of Portugal. Yeah, as I say, that's a small smattering of the many delights that are happening all over the country. Drove through a little village just down the road from us, Paraíso, Paradise Valley. They were having their local village festa. These are starting all over the country, and you could quite easily have a holiday from now, May in Portugal, right through to December, going from one festa to another. In fact, that would make a pretty good Netflix series, would it not? Let's get Bobby O'Reilly on speed dial, shall we? And maybe talk about that for next year. Awesome. Right. Okay. I need to go and pick up the in-laws now, who are arriving in the country very soon. So have a great day. And we'll see you tomorrow. We'll have our gentleman, our British gentleman from the capital, joining us tomorrow, Carl Hyde, and of course, Veronica, your American in Portugal, joining us from the south. So Algarve and Lisbon in the house tomorrow. And we look forward to your company then. In the meantime, please pop over to the Portugal Club and check out all those lovely sayings that Antonio very carefully collates for us and curates for us over there. Have an excellent day. Take care and bye for now. How about a coffee, everyone? Let's go and have a coffee, shall we? And then get on the road and pick up the in-laws. Take care. Bye for now. Have fun. Ciao, ciao.